Okay, bueno. Um, so now we're gonna have the next agent from the let me see. Sorry, give me a sec. I think we have Priscilla in the room from Baylor University. So
Hola
we're gonna
Carolina,
have
yes,
Baylor
I'm
University.
Priscilla with
Oh,
Baylor.
hi. Hola, Priscilla. I'm sorry, my screen is crazy right now. Okay. Are you gonna do the presentation in Spanish or in English?
Yes, whichever's best. I can do a mix of both and whatever you'd prefer.
Um, it's up to you. It's up to you, honestly. I
Okay,
just want to give you a warm
okay.
welcome to our study fair exclusive for ACN members area. And you're gonna have about 30 minutes for your intervention, and about at the end, about 10 to 5 minutes, where we would like to give a space for questions. Um, Other than that, it's your space now. Welcome again,
Thank you
and let's
so
hear
much.
something about Baylor.
So
Mhm.
great. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we see it clearly.
Okay, the above and beyond screen.
The green screen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, hi everyone. I am excited to be here with you. My name is Priscila de Alba, and I am originally from Mexico, and I studied at Baylor University, which has been such a amazing career. I've been here for 10 years now. I graduated from high school in Mexico and then was an international student here at Baylor. And then as soon as I graduated, I started working for the university as an admissions counselor. And so I've gotten to go to Colombia. And a couple of times I was just there this summer and have gotten to meet so many great, amazing students. So I know that students in Colombia have a lot of potential for going to US universities. And there's a lot of interest in US universities. So let me tell you a little bit about what makes Baylor special. And then as I'm going through the presentation, feel free to start thinking about questions so that you can ask them in the chat at the end.
Wonderful.
Well, before I get started talking about Baylor, I wanted to share just a couple of pictures about my time at Baylor and what made it so special. When I was a senior in high school, I had so many question marks of what was I going to study, if going from Mexico to the US, if that was going to be an easy transition, or if I was going to be able to make friends easily, was I going to get a job right after graduation? I just had so many question marks in my head, but I grabbed a notebook and I wrote the things that I knew for sure. So that I knew that I wanted to be challenged by a university. I knew that I wanted to be a part of a school that was going to challenge me in my faith. And I knew that I wanted to be a part of a community that felt like family. And so when I found Baylor, it felt perfect. And I went here and it blew my expectations in every single way possible. And I've grown so much. And so in these pictures that you see here, and one of them, the ones that I'm wearing a yellow shirt, I'm standing there with my sister who also went to Baylor, and we're doing my favorite tradition at Baylor that's called the Baylor line. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. And then there's a lot of fun traditions here at Baylor. And yeah, I'm there with some of my friends and then my family during graduation. Baylor is located in Waco, Texas. Texas is an amazing state. I don't know how many of you have been to Texas already or have been to the States, but Texas is the second largest state in the whole United States. So it's a huge state. And Texas is a way of making you feel like you've always belonged to Texas, like you are from Texas. You start saying things like y'all, which is like a very common thing to say in Texas. And Texans make you feel like you're a part of the family. And so it has such a strong economy that if you were to compare the Texan GDP to like maybe the GDPs around the world, like if Texas was its own country, it would be comparable to the Canadian GDP, which is crazy. Texas is truly a powerhouse, a lot of different opportunities to do internships and have job offers after graduating. Texans also has so many Colombians. So it's just fun to be here and to have a melting pot of students and people that have graduated and working here from all over the world. And there are a lot of Fortune 500 companies. I'm sure you've heard that everyone is moving to Texas. And so there are a lot of companies that are moving to Texas as well. And so here in Waco, we have SpaceX. So if you're familiar with Elon Musk and Tesla, SpaceX has a company here in Waco that our students get to do internships in. And then we also have Amazon, but we have Austin an hour and a half away from Waco, and Dallas, which is also a major city in Texas, is also an hour and a half away. And you can see the top companies that would hire students like yourself. Okay, and then Waco is a smaller college town. It is a city. It's just a smaller city, and it has so many things to do, but it's very quaint, as you can see from the pictures. Students feel very supported when they come to Waco because it feels like the whole city is celebrating and encouraging them in their time at Baylor. A little bit about what makes Baylor Baylor. Baylor is a medium-sized university. When you think of the advantages of a big school, you think, wow, they must have an amazing like football team. They are connected with companies from all over the world, and they have alumni from all over the world. And that is Baylor. But Baylor also is a small university. So that's why we're right in the middle, in which you feel like you go to your classes, you know all of your students, you know all of your professors. And so then Baylor stands right at the middle with the advantages of both universities being a medium-sized school. We have 120 different majors, ranging from all kinds. There's engineering, there's business, there's science, there is the arts, there's communication, there's education, there's literally anything that you can think of. But our top majors at Baylor are business. Our entrepreneurship program is always ranked in the top 10. So if you want to start your own business, Baylor is a great school for that. Engineering as well. And then the sciences, a third of our students come to Baylor to study science just because our science program is really strong. And we're a Research One institution, which means that the research that happens here at our school is the groundbreaking research that students get to be a part of starting their freshman year. So you'd have a part in the groundbreaking research that is happening. And our average class size is of 26, and our student to faculty ratio is 15:1. Now, why do schools like to present these numbers to you when they're doing a presentation? And I think it's important that we talk about these numbers because it's the best way that a school can give you a snapshot of what it would be to be a student at their school. So you walk in, you're walking into an English class, you sit down, and you're thinking it's going to be 300 students and the professor. But in reality is there's maybe 20 students, yourself, and then the professor. And you get to have a very interactive experience in the classroom. And it's important that you connect with your professors because your professors are going to set you up for success. They are the ones that are going to connect you to the top research that is happening on campus, the research opportunities, internships. Are going to write letters of recommendation for you. I cannot tell you how important it is to connect with your professors. And they want to have that experience with you. They want to connect. They want to get to know your name, your family, and what makes you unique. So I think it's important that you take note of that and that you start introducing yourself to your professors early the first day of class. And here are just a couple of pictures of our students doing research. This is what makes a learning experience just not something that you're just learning in a classroom through a presentation, but that you get to get your hands dirty in the work that you're learning. And it makes things, more hands-on. These are some of the companies that our students go and work for. There are a lot of different companies that are around the world that our students get to work for. And it is very encouraging to see that our students are students that get a return on their investment. So going to college is an investment, and you get to see the return of your investment by the jobs that you get right after you graduate. But what makes Baylor unique? It's not only the incredible academics that I've been telling you about. It is also the part that it feels like community and that it feels like family. Baylor is the Baylor family. I don't think I've ever heard of another school mention the name of the university so closely related with the name, with family. We are the Baylor family. And the reason that we call our school, the Baylor family, is because of our Christian foundation and Christian values. Now, with this, I'm not saying that everyone that comes to Baylor is a Christian or everyone that comes to Baylor is perfect. Not at all. But there's a sense of feeling like you belong, like everyone is welcome, like you are supported as soon as you walk in. And we have more than 90 countries represented in our campus from all kinds of backgrounds. So it's just beautiful walking around campus and seeing so many people from all over the world. And that just enriches your experience and who you are as a human being, because it opens your eyes to different cultures and different ways of seeing different things. So the ways in which students connect, because there's a lot of diversity, is through the 350 organizations that we have on campus. And so students are still able to connect with, I don't know, their photography club or their running club, or if you like sports, or if you like service, or you like leadership, you get to be a part of the university through the organizations that we offer. But you also get to connect through our sports. You get to watch all of our sports, and our men's basketball won the national championship 2 years ago. So I have a picture of that here. And it is just fun celebrating a school that does well with their sports, because you see them all over the news, and you just get to celebrate who you are as the Baylor family. These are the types of connections. That's why going to a Division I school, that's like the top sports at a university, it's important. At least it was for me when I was picking a school, is because you get to see your team all over the world. And then when you're asking for a job, you're like, oh my gosh, I know Baylor. I've seen them win the men's basketball championship. And so it's easy to remember a name brand because of how they do with their sports. Now, Baylor traditions. I don't know if you remember, but I said I was going to circle back to my favorite tradition at Baylor. Baylor has so many different traditions because Baylor was founded in 1845, which is crazy. 1845, that means we're older than the state of Texas. Before Texas was a state, Baylor was already a university. And so my favorite tradition at Baylor is called the Baylor line. And so you get to wear a Baylor line jersey, which is just a yellow shirt with your graduation date on the back. And you get to stand there with 3,000 of your closest best friends. So you get to stand in line at an American football game, Fútbol Americano, and you're on the field on game day, which never happens. You get to stand there, the fireworks go off, and you run with all the freshmen across the field. You can see it in this picture, from one corner to the other, forming a human tunnel at the other side of the field. And you get to high five and scream and shout super encouraging things to the team as they are going on to the field. And then not only that, you get the best seats in the house. But if you ever find yourself running the Baylor line, do not wear flip-flops, wear tennis shoes, because you're going to fall flat on your face and then be on ESPN for it. So you definitely don't want to be that freshman. Take it from me. Wear tennis shoes if you ever find yourself running the Baylor line. But Baylor has, again, like I said, so many different traditions that make you feel like you're a part of the Baylor family. Like, think of your own family. You probably have so many different traditions that makes your family unique. Baylor does as well. And that I think that's why we are ranked always. And one of the best experiences that a student can have at a university, and we've just have like recognition, national recognition of first year experience, because students feel so well connected their years at Baylor, starting with their first year. Now, important dates. Now that I've told you about Baylor, if Baylor's a school that you're like, wow, I think I'd really like to come to Baylor, these are the dates that you need to remember. So the dates that you need to remember is that we have the November 1st deadline and the February 1st deadline. The November 1st deadline is for students that want to apply early and that they say, yes, Baylor is the school that I want to be. The February 1st deadline is the deadline that you use if you need a little bit more time. But you can apply early action or early decision. Now, how do you become a Baylor Beer? Like, what do you need? The application process can seem really daunting, but I want to tell you that the Baylor application is free and it only takes 8 minutes to complete. So it's a very simple process. How you do this is you create your account with the Common App or a Go Baylor account by the deadlines that I already told you, either November 1st or February 1st. Then you create a Go Baylor account, which will serve like a folder, and you can store all your documents there that you are sending to Baylor. Now, what do we need from you? We need your English proficiency, an essay, a transcript, which is your Cardex, like your grades, and SAT and ACT, we are test optional. So you don't need to submit those scores if you don't feel like you're a good test taker. However, if you're like, no, I think I am good at taking tests, I would encourage you to take it, but it won't affect your application. And then you have recommended items, which are not required, but you can totally submit them if you want to make your application stronger. Awesome. And then Baylor offers financial aid. And so that's important to note as well. The earlier you apply, the more opportunities you have to be considered for financial aid. So we offer academic aid and then need-based aid, which is ayuda socioeconómica. And so these are all the ways in which you can connect with Baylor. Make sure that you visit that website because that website will connect you to all the different opportunities that we have for you to connect. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you, Priscilla. It was a wonderful presentation. We're gonna have this next 7 minutes for questions. So I encourage you guys to make questions during the chat, maybe for the shy guys. I do have questions if people don't ask them because I need to take advantage of the time I have with you, Priscilla. You were mentioning that as a prerequisite, and our international students need to have a proficiency test of English.
Mhm.
What is the minimum requirement of English that
Right.
you guys?
I'm glad you mentioned that, Carolina. 'Cause something very important is that there are different ways of getting to Baylor. So
Okay,
we offer almost any test that you can imagine for English proficiency. We can take it to prove
Duolingo
your
even.
English.
Okay,
Duolingo, TOEFL,
IELTS, TOEFL.
yes, almost every test that you can think of, we take it
Okay,
to prove that a student knows English. However, if a student falls below the requirements, um, that we have as a standard, a student can come in through basically like a pathway program where they come, they strengthen their English when they're at Baylor, and then they fully matriculate as a Baylor student.
but is there any specific minimum grade of English, like
Yes,
a
I'll I'll,
B1 or?
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, okay,
Yes, but I don't
and
want
in the
students to get discouraged by
okay,
those numbers because there are
just
different
don't
ways of
focus
getting.
only on that. Okay,
Yes,
I
there
I
are
get it.
ways of getting to Baylor. Yeah.
We have a question in the chat, Priscilla. I know you
Okay.
mentioned about as a prerequisite also SAT or the other exam. I can't remember.
ECT.
ACT. Mauricio is asking us if it's a prerequisite to take the SAT test.
Great question, Mauricio. No, no tienes que tomar el SAT ni el ACT. It's not a
Okay,
required.
it's optional. You were
It's
mentioning
optional.
that. Okay. And just like a little question that I have also, our international students are also very concerned always about the economic part of the tuition and all that it requires for us to be there taking classes. Is there any options for internships or that kind of aids
Yeah,
with
for
Baylor?
sure. Yes, so students can work at the campus. They can work, as an international student, they can work. I had a job where I would give tours at the university, and it was so fun. But then
Okay,
you can also use the summer to do internships. You can also, yeah, work on internships like for a full semester. It just depends. But there's a
okay,
lot of opportunities. I would say it's important for Latin students, en especial, que tomen ventaja de los internships. No es tan común en Latinoamérica que los estudiantes estén trabajando o hagan internships mientras están yendo a la escuela, pero en Estados Unidos estos estudiantes llevan trabajando desde que tienen 13 años. Entonces, tienen muchísimos años de experiencia y eso se ve muy bien en un resume, sí, en un
en una hoja
resume.
de vida. Ujú.
Ajá. Y pues sí, es importante que los estudiantes de Latinoamérica también, o sea, vayan y digan, ok, yo también voy a ser parte de los internships que ofrecen para ir teniendo esa experiencia.
Okay. ¿Y los internships son part-time, son medio tiempo
De todo tipo.
o de todo tipo? Okay. Ok, genial, fantástico. Muchísimas gracias por el link que acabas de dejar en el chat. En el chat van a encontrar el link que dejó Priscila con todos con el tema de admisiones, pero en específico con la documentación que necesitan para inglés. Valentina nos pregunta en el chat también que si hay algún tipo de beca que ofrezca Baylor.
Sí. Carolina,
Okay,
buena pregunta. Baylor ofrece muchos tipos de becas. The key is to apply early,
okay,
really, because students here start applying now. So if you're a senior, this is your last year in college, students are already submitting their application. The application opens in August and it closes first November 1st and then February 1st. But I think it's important that if you are applying to Baylor, that you apply early because you get to um, yeah, you get to submit more, o sea, funciona como un fondo.
Okay.
Entre más estudiantes metan solicitud a esas becas, pues se va acabando el fondo. Entonces, por eso es
Ah,
importante que los
okay.
estudiantes metan solicitud antes.
Con tiempo.
Y hay beca académica y beca socioeconómica, como mencionaba en la presentación, de Need-Based Aid se le llama.
Y para leer sobre ellas es a través también del Go Baylor
Sí,
o
así
de la
es.
página de Baylor.
Sí,
Ok, muchas gracias.
sí.
Tenemos otra pregunta de Julieta que nos pregunta que si hay algún mínimo de edad. Supongo que para acceder a la beca, Julieta, no me queda claro.
O a la universidad, porque sí
O a la
tenemos
universidad.
estudiantes que meten
Ok.
solicitud que tienen 16 años o menor y se le requiere que documentación adicional para ver si sí se graduó a tiempo el estudiante y así. No sé cuántos años tengas, Julieta, pero si tienes más de 16 o tienes más de 16 al momento en el que vas a llegar a la universidad, no se te requiere ningún otro tipo de documento.
O sea, un mínimo de 16 años.
Sí, pero hay
Perfecto.
maneras de que si tienes mínimo, o sea, si tienes 16 o menor, there's ways around.
15. Ok, ok. So we just need to ask. Gracias, Julieta. Parece que le quedó clara la respuesta también a Julieta. ¿Hay alguna otra pregunta en el chat? No. Algo que de pronto quieran saber de Waco.
Sí, yo no sé cuáles sean las edades de los estudiantes que están aquí, pero mi recomendación, no se los puedo decir suficiente, es que metan sus solicitudes temprano. Hay muchos estudiantes de los que he aprendido, porque yo no era ese tipo de estudiante, pero los estudiantes me enseñan cómo meten solicitudes a las universidades y me encanta. Tienen Excel sheets y tienen tabs diferentes y los tabs representan diferentes escuelas y así tienen, o sea, las fechas límite, las becas a las que pueden meter solicitud, los requerimientos, todo lo tienen así y así en el momento en el que lleguen a esta
Organizado.
solicitud ya son súper rápidos. Entonces lo recomiendo muchísimo también para que te ayude, para que si tú tienes que llegar a enseñarle a tus papás, estas son las universidades a las que estoy metiendo solicitud, estos son los costos, estos son lo que requieren, ayuda muchísimo.
Hacer un research. Sí,
Sí,
claro que sí. Tenemos una pregunta de Judy en el chat y nos pregunta sobre que este programa en qué países que está presente. Estamos con Priscilla, Judy. Ella es la agente para Baylor University y Baylor University está ubicado en Waco, Texas, en
así
el
es.
estado de Texas, en Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Em, a ti, Juan Manuel, ¿alguna otra pregunta?
Sí, y no sé, Judy, también si preguntabas, pero tenemos estudiantes de todas partes del mundo. Dentro de la universidad tenemos más de 90 países representados, muchos de Colombia. Yo tenía un amigo colombiano que era parte del equipo de tenis, pues latinos, pero también de África, del Medio Oriente, de Asia, de todo tipo,
Fantástico.
europeos, sí, de todo tipo de
Ah,
estudiantes.
genial. Genial, porque justamente los estudiantes internacionales buscamos eso también,
Exactamente.
poder compartir con peers. Am, Preguntas adicionales que tengamos. Aprovechemos que Priscila está acá. Ah, ven, creo que escuché.
Sí,
Julieta nos pregunta nuevamente que si manejan algún otro idioma además del inglés.
o sea,
Eh,
las clases principalmente o sea, las clases son en
se,
inglés,
se dictan en
pero
inglés.
Baylor tiene un excelente programa de idiomas aquí en la universidad. Yo les daba como tutoreo o tutoring aquí a los estudiantes que estaban aprendiendo español y el tipo de nivel que tenían los estudiantes aprendiendo esto era increíble. Entonces, si tienes ganas de aprender otro idioma, cuando vienes aquí, como español, como hasta hay uno que se llama Swahili, pero alemán, francés, italiano, de todo, realmente lo aprendes bien.
Ok,
Aquí realmente esos programas de idiomas son muy fuertes.
ok. Pero tendrían que tomar una clase de idiomas. De manera
Exactamente,
general, las clases son en
en
inglés.
inglés.
Perfecto. Tengo una pregunta para ti, Priscila. Tú sabes que para nosotros los estudiantes internacionales es muy importante también saber, bueno, una vez nos graduamos, ¿hay una opción de poder trabajar después,
Sí, claro. Es súper
ya como
importante.
graduados?
Sí, es súper importante eso. Y la manera en la que los estudiantes internacionales tienen la oportunidad de trabajar en Estados Unidos muchas veces es por los internships, porque ellos trabajan en el verano. El verano, los estudiantes se dan cuenta, la compañía en la que están trabajando se dan cuenta, oye, me encanta trabajar con Juan José o me encanta trabajar con Sergio, y los quieren contratar y es así que proceden con lo de la visa, porque necesitan una visa
Entonces
de trabajo.
necesitan ser estudiantes constantes desde el comienzo a través de los internships.
Exactamente.
¿Y la universidad les colabora con ese tema de poder hacer un connection, un match con la empresa
Sí,
para el
fíjate que
internship.
tenemos demasiadas oportunidades para que los estudiantes conecten con diferentes empresas, parecido como esto, que es como más como un college fair, en lo que te llegas a enterar de diferentes universidades. Bueno, así mismo, pero en persona, Baylor organiza job fairs, en donde vienen
Okay.
las compañías que son las tops del mundo, KPMG, todas esas compañías grandes, Walmart, Google, todas esas vienen con su
Amazon.
mesita y vienen a
Ujú.
conocer estudiantes de Baylor. Entonces, eso es lo que le ayuda a los estudiantes a conectar con las compañías.
Genial. No, pues
Sí.
buenísimo que Baylor ha pensado en todas esas oportunidades para sus estudiantes.
Sí, sí, sí. Y algo que lo que más me gusta, Carolina, de Baylor es que Baylor no nada más es una escuela donde vienes a aprender, Baylor es una escuela en donde te haces parte de la familia. O sea, los maestros, los estudiantes que estén escuchando, es súper importante que sepas que sí, los maestros quieren aprender de ti, o sea, que te van a invitar a comer a su casa, te van a invitar a jugar tenis con ellos. Toma ventaja de esas oportunidades porque los maestros son los que hacen la diferencia en tus estudios cuando estás en la universidad, porque como
Sí.
latinos estamos acostumbrados a depender de nuestra familia. Cuando tú te alejas de tu familia necesitas otro sistema de soporte y el encontrarlo en unos maestros que sean excelentes en lo que hacen y apasionados de lo que a ti también te gusta y te llama es súper importante. Entonces, no me voy a cansar de decirlos, vayan a conocer a sus maestros.
Yo comprendo muy bien esa parte que mencionas, Priscila. Yo viví en Estados Unidos por mucho tiempo y dentro de los estados que pude estar viviendo fue Texas y definitivamente comparado a otros estados, sí, sí es muy cierto lo que tú dices que en Texas se siente un calorcito muy
Sí,
agradable.
sí, es
En
verdad.
una de mis, es agradable el ambiente y las personas realmente son muy amables y buscan hacerte sentir muy, muy tranquilo y muy como en familia, como tú
Sí,
mencionas.
sí, así es. Qué padre,
Así
Carolina.
que
Sí,
sí, sí, claro que sí. Pues muchísimas gracias por este espacio, Priscila. Nos encantó tenerte en nuestro Study Fair. Muchas gracias siempre por participar. Les queremos agradecer a todos los participantes de esta sala. Esperamos que les haya gustado el contenido, que les hayan quedado de pronto preguntas, inquietudes y dudas que después podamos nosotros en Study Now colaborarles, hacer el clic con Baylor o incluso si quieren ir directamente a Baylor University y consultar y empezar a hacer su research, sería fantástico. Esta sala va a estar inactiva por más o menos media hora y en el chat les dejamos el link para que ingresen y se dirijan a otra sala que tenemos disponible y alrededor de las 11:30 si quieren continuar vamos a tener a una universidad española por si quieren escuchar también esa opción. Pero por ahora esta sala va a estar 11:30 va a estar inactiva y los invitamos a que se conecten en el que encuentran en el chat. Priscila, muchísimas gracias nuevamente. Un
gracias,
gusto
Carolina.
tenerte
Gracias a todos.
y nos vemos en otra oportunidad.
Así es, adiós. Gracias.
Adiós, chao. Muchas gracias a todos. El link está en el chat. Los invitamos a que se conecten a ese link.
Gracias.
Chao. Muchas gracias a ustedes por participar. Qué grupo tan activo.